Afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well. I just thought I'd put this video out just to talk about what happened last week on the Risky Bot. So let me just clarify. The Risky Bot isn't advertised. You're only in it if you've been invited to come into it and you've got a higher appetite for risk and a higher appetite for risk versus return, I suppose. So it's not on the website. So consequently, I don't really talk about it that often. However, let's talk about it now. So when we started it, it was put about because we started because people wanted a little bit more spice. They were, as all of us do, get a bit bored of getting 7-8% a month and wanted a little bit higher returns if possible. So we used the conventional AI, but we added another one attached to it as well. And the first month, I think it only broke even. But for the last, I think October, November, December, it's done over 15% per month, thereabouts. That said, in December, on the 2nd of December, it dropped 17% in a day. But by the end of December, it was it finished on 19% up. Now, from this year, the fees went out, as all of you know, on the 4th of January. It's obviously due to the holidays, etc., getting in the way of everything. At the same time as the fees went out, later on the day, the AI opened up a bunch of dollar sterling trades. We don't get involved unless we feel we have to. We only did it twice last year, as most of you know. So we don't get involved with, if that's what the analysts have said, and this is what the bots have picked up on, they opened up a bunch of sterling dollar trades. Now, as many of you mentioned, or many of you were calling me during that week, they hadn't received any profit. And as most of you know, if you log into your cloud, you see profit, maybe only $1 or a couple of dollars going in, but you see your profits going up throughout the day. This held on to all the trades because the markets went against it. So it's holding on to the trades and wasn't able to cash any out, during the week. So come Friday, the markets actually did a significant shift against it and the margin cut out. So it lost around 40%. That said, it's just dropped a bit more now as everything else is closed off. Now, the knee-jerk reaction would be to panic, shut it off, get somebody to manually trade and put it back up. That I'm oversimplifying it, obviously. If it was that easy, then we'd have a bunch of manual traders. But the reason for starting this was to take the emotion out, take the human emotion out of trading, and let the AI do everything. Now, yes, it's taken a hit, but yes, as we know, this bot is called a Risky Bot for a reason. It's a bit of a naff name, I feel. However, it's a risk. And with high risk, it generally comes high return. But obviously, the losses are considerably higher than a lot of you are used to. Now, I've told people I think it'll break even within 2.5–3 months. I've said that based on it doing some calculations and looking at what's happening. And even if we readjust the settings, just let it gently come back up there. I'm still confident that'll happen. But look, if you're not happy with it, where you are at the moment, at the end of the month, feel free to take your cash out. As we know, no one's holding a gun to your head, etc. But I originally started with 25 grand. I think it was up to about 38, 39 grand in there. And well, you can work out how much I've got in there now. The money I put in there is money I wouldn't say I could afford to lose. 25 grand is a chunk of cash to lose, but it's not money that my wife would leave me for if I lost that cash. Now, a bunch of you have also, I'm putting this politely, mentioned what's going to happen to the fees at the end of the month. Well, the way the regulations work, we can't charge performance fees. So even if it's worth, it's $250,000 now, even if come at the end of the month, it's made 10–20%. We can't take a performance fee out of that because we're below the high watermark. It needs to come back to where it was as of January the 4th and go back above before a performance fee can be charged. I know a lot of you know that, and it makes sense when I say it. Now, so then it's down to the performance fee, now down to the management fee. Now, with the management fees, the reason I think we've been fairly successful over perhaps other companies who only charge a performance fee are that consequently we've got people working for us who maintain the coding. So we bought a couple of companies where they were only able to charge a performance fee, and consequently, if they had a bad month, they weren't taking any fees. Therefore, they weren't able to afford salaries to pay their coders. So the coders weren't there to maintain the coding. The reason we charge a management fee is so we can run as a professional business, so we can pay the coders, so they can maintain the coding going through. So it's a difficult one to a certain extent. Should I charge management fees when we've made a loss? Well, isn't this the most important time when coders come into it? Although I know a lot of you know that I feel I'm fair with when it comes to fees. As you know, we pay about 300 grand from the software glitch that, as I keep saying, wasn't anything to do with us, wasn't anything to do with the broker themselves. It was a software glitch, not a trading glitch. I don't intend to put to compensate for trading losses. I wouldn't go to my Bitcoin broker and say my Bitcoin's gone from 60 to 40 grand. I want you to make that up. However, when it comes to the management fee, will I reduce it? Probably at the end of the month. Will I reduce that to 1%? I probably will. But guys, just leave it to my judgment to make sure that what I'm doing I think is fair. Just to finish off the point. As you know, we paid back 300 grand for that software glitch. That it wasn't our fault. It wasn't the client's fault. It wasn't the broker's fault. But we as Simply Bots and ACY paid it back to clients because it wasn't a trading loss. Now, so to a certain extent, trust me, I guess, when it comes to fees, to try and get the gut feeling to make it right. None of us like paying fees, me included. But you can understand, I'm sure, that we are running a business, and generally, I think that we get it right. That said, if you do have any questions, feel free to private message me to send me a private message if you do have any concerns or any questions. But just to summarize, I feel within the next 3 months, we'll be back to where we were as of the end of December. All right, thanks for your time. Cheers.